Welcome to the OP Noobs All Members official podcast, discussing all good things PC gaming.
Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back. This is a brand new year. Today is January 6th already. We're already nearly 1 week into the new 2015. My name is Michael, aka Lonely Asian, here from OP Noobs. We're hosting our All Members official podcast, episode number 4.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. Oh yeah, so right now we have a ton of other guests with us here, a little bit fun hosts. We have Fred, also aka Essentialist. We have Noor, also known as Mink, and we have John, also known as Truth. So how's everyone doing today?
Doing awesome, Mike.
Doing good, man.
Awesome. All right.
Sounds good. We're feeling it. We're ready for episode 4. We're going to give it our best. We've got people on Mumble. Pretty excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm excited because 2015, we're already starting off with a bang. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, OP Noobs is actually a PC community where all the content and everything is created by you guys, the community itself. Everything is in your hands. And I advise to recommend check out our site, opnoobs.com. And one of our favorite interviews up right now is actually with Neil Acri. We had a chance to speak with him.
Yes.
He was a great WoW composer, background with also TV series SG-1 if you're a sci-fi fan, and a lot of different movies. But we're a huge fan because he does a lot of work with Blizzard and upcoming work with North Korean MMO called Revelations. And so that's pretty exciting to see. So just check us out. Feel free to like us, tweet us, whatever we want you guys to actually hear about us and see upcoming events.
And if I can, Mike, I want to give an extra thanks to the guy actually, because this is an interview that happened after we went on Facebook and casually. It's my fault. I've been a fan of World of Warcraft since the vanilla days. I think I got started 2 weeks after the game came out. And if I was gonna say 10 years later, it's just the 10-year anniversary now. If I was gonna say 10 years later, what is the biggest strength in the game that kind of carried me through this whole time? I hate to say it, but it's the music. The music in that game just completely immerses you in a way that, when I think back, like a lot of people at Blizzard talk about the nostalgia. The whole concept of thinking back, leveling, going through the leveling process again, all the way from 1 to 100. Some people have even complained about that when Blizzard instituted the $60 and buy level 90. People are emotional about that game because it traces, it traces time all the way back to maybe when you were in high school or in college, and still people are playing it. Still people are joining it today. And if you think back all the time when I recall those days when I was maybe like 22, 23 in college, I always remember just me flying in the sky and listening to the music. So I thought to myself, now we've got a website, we've got a presence, we've got a good community. Why not just go on Facebook and message the composer himself and ask him if he'd be willing to answer our questions on a podcast? And I'm thinking I'm not going to get a reply. And a couple of days later, suddenly the guy emails me and says, "Hey Fred, sorry for the delay." Gets on it. And the best thing about this interview is not just the fact that he had the generosity of donating his time to us. It's also that he took our questions seriously. He's a guy that we asked him questions not so much about the game itself, but what it took for him to get where he is today. And I think this is something as a community that we can kind of rally ourselves around. The concept that we're all in it because we want to, at some point, we want to get out of just playing the games and enjoying the practice of it all with the being engaged in the industry. And he took those questions at heart and he explained to us his path, his career, and everything that inspired him to do so. And I encourage everybody, if you haven't done so, to listen to the interview because I think it turned out all right.
Yeah, I've had a personal listen. The guy is definitely genuine, passionate. How he writes his music and goes with the flow. He just draws from so much experience. And definitely check it out later on. It talks a little bit personally of how his life experience actually influenced the music that he creates along with it. I mean, do we have any other big WoW players that kind of knew the music, grew up with it, and kind of actually even listened to it on a day-to-day basis on a soundtrack while you're jogging or even every day at work?
Yeah, I listen to it quite a lot.
because it was very, very good music. I remember in 6th grade, we had to do like a photo story video of our pastime, and all of it was just stills from Vanilla with I think it was The Shattering playing in the background or something very similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great composers. But so just to also go back to like introduction, everyone. We are getting sidetracked with Blizzard, where some of us enjoy it very much. Let's get a little bit hello from Noor and how you've been doing. New Year resolutions. Anything going on for 2015 coming for you?
I'm just job searching as of now for 2015, but no, it was good. New Year's was awesome. I had some couple friends come down. We just went out for New Year's, partied. It was awesome. Good times for New Year's. And then just a lot of games, a lot of
How drunk did you get?
I didn't drive. I was designated driver, so I was like, I gotta actually be responsible.
Why did you accept that position?
I can. You got played. You got played. I was like, I think I'll make it. I was like, if I out party everyone else who's drunk, I can make it.
So all the good blackmail info.
Yeah, it was good, and then a lot of games I've been, at least recently, games wise, a lot of single player. I've been doing Skyrim. I got to mod Skyrim. I got to remod.
You still playing Skyrim after all these years?
Yeah, because I played it a lot on the 360, and then I got a PC last year, and then now I'm modding it. But every time I mod it, I play it for a little bit, and then I have to re-update everything. So it's the whole modding thing. It turns to a full-time job.
I hear there's a
Steam Workshop, or
huh?
Are you modding it through the Steam Workshop, or are you using like the mod manager from Nexus?
Yeah, Nexus Mod Manager. It's like so it's like it's a process. Yeah, it's worth it though. I mean, some people they'll get into it as like I kind of get into it. So then, but the end process, like once you get your game working, it's like phenomenal and it's like amazing.
Yeah, we should talk. I'm running probably close to 300 mods on mine.
Oh jeez, I'm like probably 100, and then I'm like I'm good, and I'm like I'll Skyrim it up.
It's a lot of little things, but
they
all add up. I'm really into the realism stuff where you take away not just the realistic HUD, but the food rotting, and you have to keep track of how much every little thing weighs, and cold and being wet and footsteps in the snow, all that stuff.
The hypothermia mod, that's one of the best ones. Yeah, that was awesome.
I don't know. I don't think I could
some
deal
of them
with
like counteract how hard those things can get though. Where when you get like the Better Horses mod and the mod that gives your companions horses, so just like run away, and they have saddlebags that you can pack stuff into.
Yeah, I know that Skyrim. We can talk about this for hours and hours. Of just endless mods.
It's like
and then I guess multiplayer, a lot of, and I mean a lot. Dota 2. I love that. I'm grinding it all the time, every time. So a lot of Dotes.
Cool. What about you? How you doing about John? You've been playing a lot of games as well. Are you a Dota fan, or what you've been up to since the new year?
No, I'm not a Dota fan, unfortunately.
No.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've actually right. I've been New Year. It was a great New Year. Had a lot to drink. Played a lot of video games. I've been getting into.
I hear a baby in the back.
Actually, yeah, that was mine. I apologize. So I've been playing a lot of Smite. I've been playing a lot of Dungeon Defenders. I wish I would have known that game existed earlier. It's phenomenal. I don't know if you guys have played it at all.
No, I haven't.
You haven't played Dungeon Defenders?
No. Yeah, it's that third person, pretty much tower defense weird thing.
Yeah, it's great. It is. It's phenomenal. So
actually, it's a lot of fun, like multiplayer.
Oh yeah. We've got I get the group of guys together. There's like 4 of us or so.
Actually, I would play you. I would play with you with this.
Do you have Dungeon Defenders?
We should talk after. I have the second one. I think I have Dungeon Defender 2 on Steam.
Okay, Dungeon Defenders 2 isn't as good as the first one.
Seriously?
That's the only problem. Yeah.
But
the first one is
amazing.
way better. Yeah, no, they're pretty good. But Dungeon Defenders, the first one, phenomenal. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think it's like $14. Yeah, I'm sure it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that game on Steam a few times, and you know what? Actually, in fact, talking about Steam, starting off with this brand new year, it's actually a pretty interesting topic that came out. We know how the Xbox One and the PlayStation on Christmas Day, their network got crushed pretty hard that no one could play for an entire day. What came out of this actually on January 1st for New Year's for the Steam, they actually broke a new record. They went up pretty high. They actually broke 8.5 million concurrent players on brand New Year's Day, and that's actually already another million since last year. They were at 7, and they're growing another rapidly, and it's a solid 8.5 million. So it's pretty interesting that PC is doing well, it's hard to attack us, and that the consoles are starting to come down a bit from there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's, I at least I wouldn't say it was like strictly because of the attacks, because everyone's been getting attacked by something. I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, DDoS has been off the hook.
Yeah, it's like it's so easy to DDoS. It's like it's like everybody and their mom is DDoS, and
so maybe I'm completely ignorant, but I had never heard of the DDoS thing before this winter season, this Christmas. And is it suddenly the next big thing? Like, is it new?
No, it's not that. I don't think. I mean, I don't know too much about it. I don't think the process is new. I think it's just it's getting more popular. At least like it's the one that the hackers do.
Just get bigger every day.
If I'm not mistaken, like that's a huge reason why if you try to make an account on something, it'll give you the question, are you a robot? No. Because of like just the random accounts that get made really, really fast and it crashes the servers.
Right.
Yeah, at least for I guess for like general purposes, DDoS, the DDoS, there's DOS and then DDoS. DDoS is distributed denial service. Is basically where they go to a network and then they just flood the hell out of the network.
Yeah,
with,
they don't actually
useless
damage
traffic.
the files. I don't think they don't actually damage the files or the game itself. They don't get into the coding.
It's just slamming their internet connection.
Yeah, it's
so much
not
traffic
traditional
that they
hacking.
can't get anything through.
Yeah, they just flood the traffic.
Comes into play when they infect enough machines with their botnet to control them to launch the attack.
Have you heard of the Lizard Squad?
Yes, they're the guys that have been doing the DDoS attacks against Blizzard, and they've been claiming they did it against Valve too. The workshop was down for a while, and a bunch of other games.
I think Sony too.
Sony, yeah.
And they're in it. I think they're like in it just to make money. And they're in Europe.
The one guy even went on TV and then like the FBI showed up at his house.
That's crazy. I can't believe they did that. And
they're all kids though. They're like all of them.
Yeah, they're super young.
Yeah.
They're just super young, and they're actually the crazy thing I saw on the news today. These guys are actually selling their product. So you can spend between I think it's between $5 and $600. There's a pretty wide margin, and you go on their service, and you can DDoS anything you want.
What do you want to bet their client has a Trojan in it?
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
add
to
you to their
grab from them.
botnet.
Yeah, that was my first
Welcome
question.
to
I was like,
mining
who's gonna
Bitcoin
trust
for
them?
Lizard Squad.
Yeah,
it's interesting because it kind of bears the question, like, what do you guys think of? What do you guys think of groups that act like this? Do you think they're just a bunch of jerk, or do you think it's a form of protest and it's something that has its benefits because it keeps big developers, big companies who are trying to make
people not putting shoes on their heads? They have no message. They're just trolls.
I think they do have a message, and it's not my point of view, honestly. I'm not techie enough to have a.
Squad in particular doesn't seem to have any message.
But I mean,
if you go to their Twitter page, they're
well, I mean, you have to think
forcing software developers to take pictures of themselves with shoes on their heads to stop DDoSes.
Well, I mean,
are you serious?
Yes,
some of them
those
actually
are their
have
demands.
a good point behind
Sometimes
it.
they're that ridiculous.
Yeah, but they're in a way you could even argue that doing something like that is attacking the developer and saying get on top of your game, because one thing's for sure, Justin, and you can bear to disagree. The games that are coming out have a lot of issues. They have a lot of technical problems. You just look at Assassin's Creed and everything that comes out
I'm
on.
not saying that's not true at all. I just don't think that the Lizard Squad in particular has a message other than maybe anarchy or you know, our moms didn't hug us enough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you also have to think with everything moving digital. Even wars aren't going to be fought with artillery and tanks anymore. They're going to be fought with people hacking into bank accounts and just draining them.
Yeah,
you know? So protests will happen more and more like this, where they will attack servers in the most peaceful, legal way possible, while still doing, you know, sending their message.
Oh, for
Anonymous
sure.
is
But
Anonymous
protests
is
are
notorious for
science.
this.
These guys are just throwing rocks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these
Lizard
guys are just
Squad.
trolling. They really don't have like a mess, because if they like did it to like Valve or, you know, Blizzard, which they did to the BattleNet, which is the one topic that we'll talk about, is that they'll do that, and then if they did it like once and they're like, all right, step up your security protocols or whatever, then it's still not fine to do that, but it's like, all right, at least they have something behind that. But they've done it with no direct message as to why they're doing it, other than they just want to do it for fun. And on top of that, they've done it multiple times to the same companies. That's another thing.
Yeah, all I think what say is there's a lizard in your pipes or something weird like that on their Twitter page, and that's like the end of it.
But the Daily Dot is the newspaper that first reported on it, or at least did, maybe not first reported on it, but at least communicated with some of the members of this community. And they were saying that back in September of last year, I may have the month wrong, but this group, Lizard Squad, was saying, no, we're doing this to keep developers in check and basically tell them to get on top of their game. And now they're saying it, now they have a completely different message, which is kind of why I agree with you, Justin. I think, yeah, now they're saying, no, we're in it to make money and we're selling you our stuff. And then there's also a guy with a PhD that's somewhere in the United States that's looking at this group, and he's saying that this is a community that has probably the strongest server out there, the strongest capacity to f up the system as we know it. And it's pretty. You may like criticize. I mean, it's still pretty impressive to be able to f up the systems of Microsoft and Sony.
They have massive botnets and multiple botnets. That I'm not debating that at all. They're definitely dangerous.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool, because actually someone brought up in our chat named Aerosol that they actually mentioned another squad called Finest Squad, who is actually attacking back Lizard Squad. So there's like a little bit of war going on there, so it's actually pretty cool to see on that point that Lizard Squad is kind of just, they're trying to make money. I feel like there's really no intention. They're just saying something just to justify themselves, but overall it seems like they're just kids having fun and getting out of hand with it, really.
Yeah,
it's like, I want to play my games. It's like, stop DDoSing my games.
It's just like a weird like 4chan versus Reddit shadow war going on.
Yeah, and they're also, honestly, they're also in Europe, which means that like the US government can do nothing against them. Like they're outside US jurisdiction, so they've kind of got that safe haven. And I don't think like countries in Europe. Yeah, you're still safer. That like if the FBI was on your ass, you'd have real problems.
I mean, I think if they attacked if they did anything to the U.S. government itself, then that would be an international cybersecurity issue, and then I think the U.S. government can somehow get something done about that. But they've only been attacking companies, which I think at least a friend of mine told me that when they attack companies, it's seen as a company issue rather than a government issue. That's why the government won't get involved.
Wow,
I'm not too sure about that.
Wow, this is cool. It's home security. We're talking about all sorts of stuff.
How they got in. I mean, it's like, I mean, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act is what they use against most hackers, and if you try and like break any kind of encryption, you're violating that. I mean, that's where they'd go first. But I mean, even in the Sony hack, all they did was bring in a USB drive. They didn't break encryption or anything.
They did that with a USB drive?
Yeah, they brought an infected pen drive in, had somebody install something on the machine, and then exfiltrated 10 terabytes of data over the course of a few months.
Damn, that's
wow.
Yeah, good old sneaker net.
That's pretty sneaky and
That's
scary.
my previous comment about war.
All right,
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was just gonna pull it back a little bit. We're getting off of security. I just want to go back to like how the whole, kind of tying with the DDoSing our games and people playing all sorts of attacks, like especially with CS:GO. That's a big one that's attacked. Just talk about like the numbers for the Steam current users for that day was pretty remarkable. Dota 2 was the #1 most popular game of the year, starting off the bat, hitting 875,000 people. So that's a huge number. Followed by a far behind Counter-Strike Global Offense with 360,000 users, and then rounding out with Team Fortress 2 at 89,000. Football Manager 2015. That came out of nowhere. At 75,000.
Oh, that's great.
And then ending up with
not playing FIFA changed games.
Apparently, they like managing their teams and actually playing their soccer players. All right, and then we're gonna wrap up with Skyrim's at 66,000 users. So it was a pretty brand new years for Steam, and kind of cool to see where we're going on versus like PCs and consoles, and how PC's kind of doing very well. Steam is only growing further, even against the whole just kind of going a competition with what's going on with Xbox One, PS4, and how PC is just already starting off this year very strong in that.
And don't you think there's like kind of a trend right here? You look at, I looked at the numbers behind the Steam records, and I think last year they hit a record already, and that was 7 million. Then in half the year through, they hit 7.5. And this year they hit 8 millions. And at the same time, you've got PlayStation and Xbox. Xbox been a disaster since it came out. And it's funny because to me that's interesting, because Xbox has always been kind of the front runner in the United States. A lot of Americans like to buy their Xbox and give the middle finger to PlayStation. And suddenly you've got these, the PC games are becoming more and more popular. More and more people are learning to build their own rigs, and I may be fantasizing here, and I don't know, I'm kind of looking for your opinion on this, because I think that in my head, 10 years from now, everybody will be playing on a PC. At least the PC world will compete. Either the PC world will completely dominate the market, or consoles are going to start behaving a lot like PCs, which is probably more likely. People are still going to play on their TV. But the Steam box and stuff like that, something I've said already, I think on the first or the second episode of this show, I think that's where it's at. People are going to want to be upgrading their parts. It's going to become more and more user friendly to install your rig, and the graphics are just amazing. It's a theory I have, because you look at PS3, you look at Xbox One, and you think Xbox 360, sorry, and you think the longevity of the systems, 8 years on the market, and still today, like, more people have these systems than people have the next gen. So I'm thinking, people want to update their stuff. We're fed up with our PS3s. We were fed up with our Xbox 360. It looks like crap compared to what the PC was able to do, and people realize that. And I think there was a long period for 2 to 3 years where gamers started to realize, God, it looks so much better on PC. And that forced people to move to that platform. And today, you've got a company like Steam, which is a brilliant move, basically saying to the console market, we're coming over and we're going to steal your living room. We're going to plug our boxes to your TV, and people can update them, can upgrade them as they see fit with the technology moving. If they can get in-home streaming and the Steam box working together with every game out there, they've won completely. Like Microsoft, you believe that?
Might as well just go home.
Yeah, and something very similar actually happened about a century ago. It was during the election between William Taft, Teddy Roosevelt, and Woodrow Wilson. Okay, let me finish. I am notorious for doing this. Let me finish. Alright. That was my brother. Anyway, so what happened was Taft wanted to be president because he was running for re-election. Teddy wanted to go back because Teddy had put Taft in office, basically, and he used that against him. And so it was like these two kids bickering, and people got fed up with it, and so they voted for Woodrow Wilson.
Okay, so Woodrow's the PC.
Exactly.
Hey, okay. I know him. 28th president.
Actually, suddenly it makes a lot of sense, Josh.
I'm notorious for that.
I applaud your effort. Suddenly it makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's exactly what we're saying. Is I really think, and then and on top of that, you top it off with the indie gaming industry that's completely booming, and the green light and Steam again coming back and saying, hey, we've got a platform for anybody who's thinking creatively and has got the knowledge coding wise to get your game up there. And a bunch of people across the countries are like teaming up and setting up, making games basically. And then there's the esports phenomenon, and you just quoted Dota 2 on those records. I mean, it's no surprise, you know, you can play those games for free on PlayStation and have this level of competition embedded into like your living room. You can't. It's not possible. I'm feeling very positive about the future of PC gaming. If you haven't gotten that already.
Yeah, at least for me in PC gaming, at least I would agree with you that the consoles, they're turning more into computers. Like the Xbox One and the PS4, they use the AMD integrated CPU with the graphics card integrated into that. And then
did you know you can change your hard drive on a PlayStation?
Yeah, they have interchangeable hard drives, which you can buy the PC hard drives and use those.
I mean, it's for me, it's a sign
even
that
the first Xbox was a Celeron processor with an NVIDIA like an MX440 graphics processor.
Yeah, and then at least for, I mean, I think PC will definitely in the future start dominating the market, at least in the like foreseeable, like soon future. The only thing I would say that's stopping people from switching to PC is that people are gonna probably go with what they're comfortable with, which if people are comfortable with consoles, they're just gonna go to the next console iteration. Like the only reason why I got into PC gaming is because one, Dota 2 came out, started playing Dota, and then my other friend who had a custom PC helped me build one. If I was by myself, I don't think I would have done. I would have went with the next iteration of consoles.
Yeah, sure, but here's another
good mouse and keyboard setup for the couch.
Yeah,
that would.
Yeah, but here's another interesting fact. Do you know how old the average gamer today? How old the average gamer is?
No.
It's 31 years old. And if you think of it, I think more people are on PlayStation and Xbox when they're in high school. These are guys in high school with little budgets. They beg their parents for a while to spend $400 on them. They get the system, they buy a couple games, and they play with friends. They play Halo, they play stuff on the couch. And I guess I point out the fact that the average gamer today is 31 years old to say that the industry does belong to the PC gaming world, because when you're 31, you've got money to buy your rig, to set it up, to enjoy the games that are coming out, to tune yourself into the tech stuff. You're also just more curious about life because of the experience it brought you. And you want to get into a hobby. It's a hobby, you know, like you want to get into a hobby that holds you and challenges you on so many levels. And I think you're never gonna find that with consoles. Like it's a press play. It's, you know, I play Monopoly, I play PlayStation.
Yeah, and as much as I'm a first person shooter guy and I like praise the mouse over the controller thing, it's the depth of the games that has kept me in it versus console. You know, you don't get these, you know, huge. I mean, just recently Skyrim sort of almost, but that's nothing compared to like Morrowind, which is an earlier game from the same series.
Yeah.
Back to what you were talking about with kids for a second. I used to be a GameStop employee, and one thing that parents really enjoy with the consoles over the PC is that it's simple, it's family safe, it's plug and go. With the PC, if the kids are real young, you have to download the games, approve it for them. Where compared, you can just go somewhere.
I think sorry to interrupt, but I think it's worse than that. I think you don't even, as a parent that doesn't know what he's doing, you go into Best Buy and buy yourself an HP. That game can't run Diablo. There's no way. Like that game's not gonna be able.
Yeah, but they're probably not gamers. They can't.
That's what I mean. Like
that judgment.
That's what I mean. You can't even go to the store and buy your kid a gaming platform because you have to build it yourself.
Yeah, well, I think has kind of coming from like a background with PC in the future. All my cousins who are like 14, 12, even my little sister who's 9, they're more adept with a PC, playing Minecraft, Dota 2, League of Legends.
I think Minecraft is nuts, and even Minecraft serves my argument in the sense that you look at what little kids are playing today, and it's not, you know, the best looking game you can afford on a phone that you're stealing from your parents. it's a game where you're creating, you're building. It's like, you know, these kids, when they turn 20, they're going to build their rigs.
Oh,
it's, you know, Minecraft is the early stage of building your rig. It's the early stage of getting involved at like a much deeper level into gaming.
Well, I mean, this was also
a different philosophy though too. Like, I mean, you said it yourself. Like, you go into a store and buy a game. When's the last time you actually did that as a PC gamer?
I never, ever.
Never.
Not
Yeah,
since
I mean,
we're
I
not
like
the mall
to
culture,
collect
you
physical
know?
copies. So
I drive by GameStop, and every time I drive by GameStop, I can't believe they're still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
but
majority of their sales come from stuff like Steam sale cards and
Yeah,
all that
exactly.
fun jazz.
just to build off of how you said you had cousins and you know, family members who, when they're young, they are already playing PC games. That's what I'm saying about comfortability. It's like they grew up with that, so most likely they will be making their rigs when they get older. But those people who have not, like for me, for example, I've never had PC games when I was a kid. I had console games. That's why when I got older, console was the go-to for me, until my friends were like, no, wait, you really got to try PC out. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then I at least, you know, played on their PCs, see how their PCs worked, and found out that actually making a PC and maintaining it is actually not that bad, because it looks complicated, but it really isn't. And then you make the switch like that. But I feel like people will still go with what they're comfortable, at least for a while, until something happens
That's where
to.
the Steam box is gonna
That's exactly the Steam box. I don't think it's there. I don't think the Steam box is there for to get into the competition to take over Sony or anything. That is there to make it more readily available to people who don't want to do that, things like that, and like to build their own PC or anything like that.
Yeah, and also to just kind of tie in back to the Minecraft, just kind of lead forward. Like, I know with Minecraft that's actually coming out there, Telltale Games, which is very known for their story. They're essentially like a visual novel game, but much more intense.
They're the best in point and click type of stuff, Telltale, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting that they're gonna actually team up with was it Minecraft again, and they were gonna do a little bit more with that.
Yeah, Mojang is actually it's not actually owned by Mojang anymore. About 3 months ago, Microsoft bought Minecraft, which we know.
It's like Notch just kind of dropped the pickaxe and walked away.
Yeah,
right.
He's like,
Well, you know, with $2.5 million, he's gonna have full control over his life forever.
It was
2.5
with
billion.
Yeah.
Right.
B with a billion.
Yeah, he said, man.
Let's add a couple zeros to this.
He
Right.
said, but he's working on something else. He said, but I think he's already working on something new.
Yeah, but just for fun. So he doesn't plan on selling any of that.
It's the same
so
thing he's been working on for like 12 years now, that he shows every chance he
Yeah,
gets.
he said. He said in his closing. He said in his closing letter.
I think he's ambitious.
If anything.
I think he's an ambitious guy. He's the type of guy I think he's gonna do something else. It's false pretense, the whole thing about I left it because it became too big and I just kind of want to chill out. I think he's gonna do.
Yeah.
He's gonna take another.
BET.
Because now the game probably went corporate. It's completely out of his control, and he feels like a tool in a big machine. And he just want to kind of moves away from that, from his money, with his money. And even whether or not that's true, I think, and whatever he produces, and since he is working on a game, you know, the industry is going to come after him and give him offers that he probably won't want to refuse just out of curiosity. So
yeah, absolutely.
And those companies aren't going to market it like from
route. You know, he's intentionally keeping the dev team on whatever he's working on really small.
Yeah, he's going back to the roots, and I applaud that.
Well, you get better games that way. You know, I personally really enjoy Minecraft. You know, I know that Fred, you may not like that sort of game, but I really enjoyed Minecraft. You know, getting on with the guys, building whatever. You know, you had certain tasks, bosses you could beat or something, and so on, and I really enjoyed that.
You have to defend this position, because for me, the Minecraft phenomenon is the biggest enigma. I don't understand how this game can succeed at that level.
I think I think you know what it is that why it succeeded the way that it did is because Minecraft shows us something very important about video games, and it's not all about the looks. We all do love the pretty games. But what Minecraft does is it gives you 100% control over the environment in the game itself, which you don't find that in any other game. Right? It's Legos, you know.
It's an ugly environment.
I don't
some
know.
people would say that
If
that
you mod it,
debatable.
though.
Yeah, I mean, I had mine modded for 128-bit textures with skins and mine looked
you
good.
guys,
Shader
that's
packs.
what I don't understand. You guys talk about Skyrim, and you're obviously in Skyrim because wow, you play Skyrim on a good rig, and you're like wow, and you can mod that and affect an environment that blows you away. So that train of thought and kind of that ambition to put your mark in that game, I can understand. The whole concept of having a bunch of pixels, and I'm gonna be harsh, but it's my position. It doesn't mean anything. I'm 10 years old, 8 years old maybe, but I'm 32 years old. Looking at pixels and stacking one next to the other doesn't excite me at all.
Well, I mean, you also have to think, Fred.
I just feel like the experiences you get out of the games that are coming out today that are not necessarily a big budget, but just they look like they're made today and not 20 years ago. They give you such a rush, such an experience, and it's not just necessarily a rush that comes out of action and shooting your shotgun or whatever. Even in depth, like you've got a lot of strategy games, a lot of stuff that feels like it completely immerse you even intellectually, and so I don't understand how it's possible that Minecraft be so successful when it's completely surrounded by.
Are you familiar with the movie 1984?
No. It always takes me back in time.
Well, there was this book
Welcome to
the
the U.S.
All right. 1984 was about a Big Brother society, and the commercial for it was like a slow-mo of this person running in with a sledgehammer and throwing it at the screen, which was brainwashing people, and all these people in this auditorium were set free. And I feel like a commercial for Minecraft would look a lot like that.
No, wait, okay,
the person
real
runs
quick,
in.
it's a small detail. Wasn't that the commercial for the Apple II computer?
Yeah, that was.
I think, a lot of them did that.
That's an acceptable Mac.
Original.
It's just the side note. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that movie was a book too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a book first.
But to bring it back, go ahead, Josh. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Because I'm not sure who was talking. I didn't look at who the mic was. But it does give you that freedom, which in that time, I think it was like 2008. A lot of games were just all right. Go here, kill that, do this. There wasn't a whole lot of freedom in
very linear gameplay.
Yeah, it was very, very linear gameplay, kind of like Half-Life. Half-Life was really big at that point, and that was completely linear. Whereas this was, I'm going to spread my wings as I build them, and an homage to Sonic right next to my massive castle of epicness.
It was the opening of the free-to-play, and that's where, it was true free-to-play. So you had games like Grand Theft Auto. Where you could play it your way, that sort of free-to-play game, and that's what I mean by free-to-play. I guess I should say play it your way.
Open world.
Open world
game.
Well, yeah, and
Tigerfall still holds the record for the largest game world ever.
Right. Well, and it's not necessarily the world though that you have to look at. What Minecraft did was they gave you control over something in those open world games that you never had control of before, and that was the environment. Now, with the size of the environment and what that actually was, you can get so many cubes from your source or so on, but the size of that environment and what you could do was completely revolutionary in Minecraft. So they gave you the ability to do things.
I agree with that. Yeah. It was control, and it was the possibility. That's what it was. It wasn't laid in front of you. Like they can't say you can do this, but you could do that, and then you don't know that till someone does that. Someone I think someone made an entire city of Denmark, like some city in Denmark. They made the entire city.
I remember seeing
in
that.
Minecraft.
Some guy who's recreated
insane.
life-size,
and then the U.S. invaded
Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's insane that you are able to do that, and then on top of that, which makes it even better, is that you can do that by yourself, but then you can also do that with your friends, and like you can share that experience with your friends. Right. Like so that's another just another bonus.
So here's the thing: I'm skeptical that Telltale, no matter how good of a studio they are, I'm skeptical that they can pull off a successful title because everything that's been said over the past 10 minutes on Minecraft is basically all about the creative aspect of it all. It's all. It's not, it's not like
I think they're just riding on the branding.
I mean, it's not because it's
just
my
be a pixelated Telltale game.
Yeah, but my point is, like, people who enjoy Minecraft, they don't enjoy Minecraft because of the lore. Because of the characters, the story behind the games. They enjoy the game strictly because it's about them being creative, and so I'm skeptical that Telltale might prove me wrong, because they sure know how to tell a story. From what I hear, I've actually never played myself one of their games, but they seem to be highly popular. Like Broken Age is from Telltale. Am I wrong?
That's Broken Age is Double Fine.
That's Double Fine.
Yeah.
Sorry. So,
but they have the Wolf Among Us, the Walking Dead series.
Right, they have the Walking Dead. That's the one I'm thinking about. They have the Walking Dead. So they know what they're doing. I'm just, I don't think the fan
know
base.
That they're going for the diehard Minecraft, like I built New York City guys, though. I think they're just kind of going for that look and feel and riding on that branding.
Yeah, but
crafting the RPG.
But do you think that's gonna be? Do you think it's gonna be successful?
Well, no, and
I don't know.
Well, it probably will be successful because of the 12-year-old population that you have out there that plays Minecraft.
And it's Telltale games. So far all the games have been successful. And then at least for The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us, the difference is they stem from comic books. So that transition is a different transition than when you do from Minecraft or from actually the Borderlands one just came out recently, and at least I saw the first episode for the Borderlands Telltale games, and being a fan of Borderlands, at least Borderlands 2, I played all of one, but I wasn't a huge fan of 1, but 2, awesome game. I watched episode 1 and the Tales of Borderlands, and it's like, it's not a Borderlands game. I'm not saying it's not a good game. It's just definitely not a Borderlands game.
Well, they just did Game of Thrones too.
Well, I'm interested to see how they do something that isn't cell shaded.
But Game of Thrones is a book or a show. Game of Thrones is the show. Book is isofine.
Right, but the thing is if we look at the trend here, and this is why, Fred, I don't think that Telltale Games is going to impress here. We went from comic books to video games. Strictly story, video game story, to a TV show, wildly popular TV show at that, to another wildly popular video game like Minecraft.
So you're saying like they're not risky, they're not taking any risks.
Well, this is money. This is money. And the thing is that what they're going to do here is they're going to make the twist here with Minecraft is that they're not going to give a story for Steve, the character in Minecraft. They're not going to give a story for the Minecraft world. So as a Telltale game, how do you make a Telltale about a game that doesn't have a story? So
here's the thing: has anyone in here played Block Quest?
No.
I've seen it. It's one of those Minecraft spin-offs.
Yeah, it was like Minecraft. I bought it for the phone just to try it. The gameplay on the phone was I never bought it on the computer, but what it did was it did incorporate a story into it, and it made it work in the sense that, you had to do quests for certain people, and so you had that feeling of Minecraft, and you also had the feeling of a game like Morrowind, where you were on this quest.
I think the importance of storytelling in gaming is completely overrated.
Well,
it's completely over.
Look at all the huge successful broken games that have zero story right now.
I wouldn't say completely overrated. I would definitely say it's not the most important aspect of a game.
I think it's where the professional. I think it's where the professional industry wants the games to go. But I don't think it's on the consumer end. On the consumer end, I think it's completely overhyped. I still think most gamers out there don't care about the story. I would say it's as big as 80%. I would say 80% of, and feel free to criticize me and say I'm completely wrong about that. But I would say 80% of gamers out there, PC gamers, don't care about the story.
Well,
it totally depends on the game.
I don't know about that.
Dragon Age would be terrible without any story.
Definitely.
The Dragon Age series is just.
Is it because I'm not saying I'm 80%. I'm not saying I'm 80% of the. I skipped through the entire story of Dragon Age. personally, and
what?
Like, how do you know what to do?
How do you do that for Dragon Age? I'm sorry, but
I opened the map.
You're gonna have to defend that position.
Yeah, if you did that in Skyrim, it makes more sense.
Are you kidding
Because
me?
a lot of people did that in Skyrim.
The only story, okay, here's another example. The only story that I truly took the time to listen, and it's not a very complex story, but it's just because, again, the press keeps saying this is the game where you listen to the story, and it's BioShock. It always says, it's the one first-person shooter where the story is interesting, and it's not. It's not.
Wait. First of all,
but coming from the guy who doesn't like stories,
it's a fantastic, it's a fantastic game.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of. But that's what I'm saying. I think I represent the majority because it's a fantastic game. We all love it because it's so well engineered. The action is dead on, locked down exactly the way you want. The graphics are amazing. Everything is just produced in a way that's so professional and so engaging. But the story, but when you read the press, the main argument of the press is people play this game because the story great.
Okay, well, before we, I guess, get into BioShock, real quick, what BioShock are you talking about? Just to clarify.
Well, to be fair, that's my argument. I don't think that's important in the sense that it's been the same story for every single BioShock. Sure, I latched on to the Infinite one, the last one that came out 2 years ago. But then you go through BioShock 1, BioShock 2, and it's the same story. The story drives you through the content. Where for me, it's the action. It's
not enamored with different kinds of ammo anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I would
it's
say
the action that drove me to the. It's the action that drove me through the content and made me love it. Like I was done with the game and I said that was a superb game, and I would give it. That's my point. I would give it the score that companies gave it, but I just think it's they try to justify it because the industry wants us to love the stories behind the games, but the gamers really love the action in the games.
Yeah, see, I had the opposite effect on BioShock. For BioShock 1, BioShock 1, I actually liked the gameplay a lot, and the story was alright. It wasn't like anything super special, but it was a good story, at least I thought. BioShock Infinite, I thought the story was fantastic, one of the best stories in a game, but I did not like the gameplay in Infinite. It was such a repetitive. It was so repetitive.
Yeah,
it was bad.
The AI over and over again.
Yeah, it was because 1, at least it was the fights. Yeah, the fights in BioShock 1 felt more intense. They felt like they actually mattered more, and it was harder, and it had more survival horror feel to it. And then
you're right, it was not
Infinite.
A hard game.
They just threw guys at you, and then you just did your thing.
Would you kindly
get talked about? It's just like the redheaded stepchild.
So what about something like the Call of Duty campaigns?
Okay, you just play those games. You just shoot guys in those games. That's all you do.
Those are for racist white people who just need a new race to shoot.
Oh
I
man,
cannot handle playing Call of Duty or Battlefield.
I would like to hear Justin's point of view on this. Yeah, Justin, I would like to hear your point of view about Call of Duty because I think you have an opinion there that you voiced out pre-show.
The original Call of Duty was a masterpiece, and it
good.
really just kind of went downhill from there.
It's a great opening.
We just passed the football of crap between Treyarch and anyway. But those games, I play the crap out of the single player on. Every one that comes out, I play the single player campaign. Battlefield especially. I think Battlefield 3 had one of the best single player campaigns out there.
Man.
For a shooter.
Yeah, and
Far Cry 2 had a great single player campaign.
Really? Wait,
once you got the game to run on your computer and not, set it on fire, it had a great single player campaign.
But so
who
plays
Call of Duty Grand Theft Auto Africa? It was pretty cool.
Who plays what type of gamer plays Call of Duty in your opinion?
Mostly the bro gamers.
The casual guys who don't really care, just want to shoot. Because I come from the other end where
try and compare Pro Mod to Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I come from the other end where I'm actually all for the story for a game. Like, that's what really brings me in. Because when I play a game, I get involved and immersed in the story. Like, wow, even though it's a lore, but the story that people get sucked into, that motivates and moves the world of WoW. It just takes you more deeper than just a gameplay mechanic. You're just killing monsters. You feel like you're part of the story.
But it's backstage. I mean, it's...
I think someone said it here. I don't know whoever it is. Speak up, but I guess when I say it, someone said, which I think the most important line is, at least in this argument, is that it depends. One, it depends on the game, and two, it depends on what you're looking for. Like, if I want to play a game like Dragon Age, I want a good story. If I want to play a game like Call of Duty, I just want to shoot dudes. It's like I'm not going to care about the story.
And they run away anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I think it really depends on the game, and it depends on what you're looking for at the time.
Okay, so that's right. You're being subjective, and you're right to do so. But if you were going to put a percentage of people who care about the story, what would you say? What is it?
Well, I don't know about percentages. I would say it's too hard to. I would say for me at least, it's too hard to put a percentage on that. But if you told me in a game, like a general game, like a game in general, what's the most important aspect? Story is definitely not the most important. Number one for me, at least, is going to be gameplay, because we come to games to play games. It's like so. It's going to be the most
Alan
important.
Wake or Remember Me?
Yeah, that's.
I know Alan Wake and Remember Me.
Alan Wake, that's the one with the glitch at the end, right?
Terrible without a story. I mean, they were like,
yeah.
I mean, Remember Me especially, like you had to rewind the story and live through it over and over again.
Yeah.
But Alan Wake too. I mean, it would just been like a really sad, boring horror shooter with a flashlight.
Yeah, it definitely complements the gameplay like story does, but like it depends on the game you're going for.
All those notes.
I guess my opinion is pretty much stems from the fact that I've never been emotionally involved in the storyline of a video game.
Well, then that's...
Well, here's a question for you, Fred.
It's just never... No, but it's a fact. I've been playing for 25 years. I've never been emotionally involved in the story of video games, and yet I'm one of the most hardcore gamers I've ever met in my life.
Well, here's the thing, you had said yourself that the average PC gamer is 31 years old. Around that time, D&D wasn't in its heyday anymore, but it was still pretty popular. And what is that game?
It's second edition.
It's entirely story.
But my point being, like, you look at the Lord of the Rings trilogy, for example, which I love. I'm emotionally involved in that trilogy. I have watched the first time I watched those movies, I was emotionally taken by the characters, the story arch, the development of who goes where, what happens to who. It just I feel like the movie industry really pulls you in on that front. So I'm not saying I'm not sensitive to storytelling. I just feel like in a video game you've never gone through that experience where it's too fake. It feels too flat. It feels too far. It's not the right venue for it.
Yeah,
I mean, suspension of disbelief.
I want to say that's for all.
I'm against
by
you about
the way,
though.
by saying and I know you should, and by when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that's the way everybody feels. I understand a lot of people completely disagree, and I'm probably the minority in that thought. But it's just never happened to me.
You just get involved emotionally through different forms of media, I guess. I mean, there's
also it does take more. It does take more time to get yourself involved into a story game, because it does. Like I've seen you play games. You like Diablo 3. You're pretty much a basher that just when you have the time, you just want to just kill and enjoy yourself a bit more.
Yeah, but I think even there you underestimate me in the sense that there are other games I've experienced for a bunch of years, like World of Warcraft, and I sometimes I spend a lot of time playing and just truly enjoying what I've been able to fabricate through this game. Actually, to bring it back to Minecraft, it's just it's still, gaming is still an intellectual process, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But it's not one where you're passive. It's one where you're super proactive.
Well, you just called it an intellectual process, not an emotional process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
into super touche.
In the end of the day, it's a personal preference. It's like stories, like some people may value that more, but at least for me, I would say that majority, if not all gamers, number one thing they value is the gameplay, because that's what a game is centered on, or should be centered on.
If seen me play Counter-Strike, they know it's an emotional thing.
I mean, hitting enter and then just pressing W on accident. That's emotional. You end your kill streak, man. That hurts.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's also just to wrap up with the whole Minecraft and Telltale. It's kind of interesting that Telltale, who's been known to actually create story games with actual games that have story or some background with a story, to do something with Minecraft that has no story whatsoever, and it's just simply going to be a game in a Minecraft world. It's going to be exciting to see if they can pull off, because I'm a big fan of Telltale, and I've played all their games except Game of Thrones.
Right.
And I'm just curious to see what they're really going to accomplish with a story just with a Minecraft setting in the end.
Well, Mike, really
I don't think
quick.
This is any different than putting G.I. Joe on a sweatshirt. You're just combining two things that don't matter because one sell the other one.
It's not. He's right, and the reason I say that, I'm quoting Mojang here. when I say we're not intending on creating an official story for Steve or explaining the Minecraft world in detail. So there's no tale to tell. How do you make a Telltale game with no tale to tell? There's no story.
Yeah. You know, and patent on boxes arranged in a green shape.
Exactly. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. So that's where we'll wrap up on that, and we'll just hopefully wait when it comes out and see if it's just another big money maker, piggy bank. But to just kind of move forward here, going back with the Lizard Squad and DDoS, there was actually a lot of stuff going on with, just a lot of services being attacked overall. Even recently on New Year's, like BNet was having some trouble with people just connecting to their servers. And is it any related to what we've been talking to before?
What was funny to me about this one is that everybody wanted.
Oh, I think you muted your mic, Fred.
Yeah, your sound's not working, man.
Sorry. Sorry about that. What was funny to me about this one is, like, everybody was wondering what was happening to Blizzard, and Blizzard didn't speak of it at all. And what's even funnier is that over the past couple weeks, a lot of people have been saying, look at, and actually Justin, I was just talking to you about that yesterday in passing. Blizzard was looked by the press as the company that managed to do better as far as PR goes with their community than Sony did and that Microsoft when they got attacked by DDoS. And I don't want us to linger too much over the whole DDoS story because I think we already covered it somewhat, but it's still interesting to note that suddenly Blizzard, I think, get DDoSed again, could be completely wrong, and completely goes blank on it. Like, doesn't say anything, doesn't say what the root cause is, and I don't know, it's strange.
They may not have thought it was any specific threat or anything, because I know over the last week or 2 weeks, I've been randomly getting disconnected from any Blizzard game that I play, and I'll be down for 1 minute, 2 minutes, get back in instantly.
What's your take on Blizzard as a company? Like, how many issues do you think it has in comparison to others, and how do they deal with the problems that arise from just being so popular?
I think Blizzard handles it amazingly. I mean, they've always been the front runner, and every time that they've had server issues, they've been able to rectify them a lot faster than most of the other games they've witnessed. Like, I know when Phantom Lord was a streamer, they attacked all the games he was playing and got him sent away. The servers had problems for weeks afterwards, whereas Blizzard's, they had theirs down for...
game. They've been terrible. They're just notorious for having terrible server issues, and they still have never fixed it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't play. I'm not a Blizzard. I don't play Blizzard games, so I don't know how the Battle.net is.
Let's have. I'm very curious to see like Curtis' reaction.
I actually didn't get a chance to hear his argument because I was talking still.
Curtis was Justin was saying that Blizzard is actually horrendous at this type of stuff.
I'm saying Blizzard's amazing at it compared to Sony, who's much smaller and has a much smaller number of people to deal with. Yet they seem to fumble every launch, and Blizzard's, a lot less launches, but still has a pretty good track record.
Yeah, at the same time, every single game they launch, like, you can't play it for the first 3, 4, 5 days.
Your mic, at least for me.
At the same time, sometimes Blizzard just every time they launch the game, you look at Diablo 3, you look at every single expansion that Warcraft produced, and it's always been a mess at first. I mean, you don't get that with other games.
Has it really been a mess with the Warcraft expansions? I thought it was just really long queues.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mess. I call that a mess, personally.
Oh, well, I mean, when I say a mess, I'm talking about, like, Star Wars Galaxies not working for the first 3 weeks after launch day.
Yeah, that's a disaster.
Get it to work at all. And then they just proceeded to patch it to death for 3 years and then just shut it down and, oh well, we're releasing Knights of the Old Republic, play that.
You're right. At least the games with Blizzard are always
Diablo
kind of
3
like...
was terrible. But I think that's really been their only huge F-up since,
Yeah, and then once
World of Warcraft first came out, that was pretty bad.
Well, I mean, we always call, or at least I do, call these massive companies, the gaming titans. And the way I see it, Blizzard, whenever they pull out their next weapon, they kind of stumble for a little bit, for a couple seconds, because it is a massive, new tool, but they're always ready to use it. you know. Whereas Sony,
I think
they
it's
kind
just
of
a
fumble a
distribution
lot.
issue for them mostly. Whereas Sony's like they're like releasing Bethesda quality launch day code, and you can't do that with MMOs. You've got thousands of people trying to log in, and that's not good when you have terrible code that just hangs, installs halfway through a patch, and just stops.
And do you think that Blizzard's track record could be in a way the consequence of them owning well just a couple games? We're talking about the holy trinity of Blizzard, which is Diablo, StarCraft, and Warcraft, and suddenly they have a new business model, they have a new strategy, they're producing more games, and we saw that in 2014 comes Hearthstone, huge success. Then comes Heroes of the Storm. We'll see how that fares. And suddenly they announced Overwatch, an FPS. I never thought I'd see the day where Blizzard comes out with its own FPS, and on top of that, it looks like Team Fortress.
Yeah, it looks really nice, though.
Yeah, and it's
It looks
called
great.
Overwatch, the cheating viewer thing from Counter-Strike.
One of my concern, because I'm obviously a big Blizzard fan, one of my concern is that we've enjoyed Blizzard games because each game had the company's focus. Each game really had a team completely entirely focused on that. Do you think that when they start spreading to more games, more platform, more expectations, do you think they're gonna have the intelligence business-wise to grow team-wise and still keep the same philosophy, the same strategy, the same approach, and handle every other game to the same level of excellence that they've expected out of their first three?
No, they're just gonna find another Westwood to buy.
What
You
keeps
mean
you
another
interested?
Activision?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
they
They
just keep
teamed
buying
up with
good
Activision.
IPs,
I mean, it's a-
and
it's a
they
big
don't
question.
mess with the team too much and release a game, and then they spread them out.
Because it's a big question. I think it's a concern that anybody that play Blizzard games must have. It's, can you handle 5 games? Can you handle 6 games? Can you handle 10 games? Because that's pretty much your approach right now. You're just producing. And yet it's still a company in Irvine, California. They're not like these massive international hubs with offices all over the country, like maybe like Ubisoft has his office in Canada. It's Blizzard, when you think about it, is so special because it's still a pretty small company.
Yeah, and speaking of small companies, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that, people who go to work for these AAA companies, they have a problem with it because they get overworked. I mean, it's 80-hour work weeks a lot of the time. So what ends up happening a lot is
after the project's over,
or they get fired or they just quit. They're just like, all right, the pay was okay, but I'm done. And with Blizzard being as small as it is, it couldn't lose that population it has, without taking a hit. So they need to be careful with that, with not overworking their workers.
I think probably the smartest move for Blizzard is actually going to be split their company up so each part of it has a branch to take care of just Diablo, just StarCraft. But then the biggest problem
They're
they're
kind
going to
of
have...
already doing that now because they got like Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have divisions already.
They used to have like Blizzard North and then just Blizzard, but I don't know what happened to that.
Yeah, and there was a Blizzard East or something too, wasn't there?
Well, what I was going to say in addition to that is they're going to take the Blizzard company main and just focus it onto just the Battle.net servers, which is what you were saying was getting DDoSed with the authentication and just their new client in general. They're going to have a massive group just focused on security and helping people get through. I think that's the next step for them to take, honestly, with all the release troubles.
So you're not so concerned about the actual quality of the games as much as you're concerned about their ability to keep them secure.
Yes.
They should probably just buy Cloudflare.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm on the end with Blizzard, where actually I think they're still continuing to perform great games because watching their documentary, Looking for Group, and seeing some of their work and their philosophies, it's that same way as, but if you look at Ubisoft sometimes or Activision, they're the real managers are actually the project managers. They're the corporate heads that say, hey, Call of Duty has this, you put that in this game because that's what people want. While Blizzard's like, you know what, this is a game I want to play. This is a game that people could really enjoy, and I can see that they bring that into with the Heart of the, why can't I remember it? Heroes of the Storm. There's actually like it's a dumbed down kind of like simplified with the mechanics, but a lot of fun of like Dota 2, League of Legends, more on the team fight, less on the mechanics, and more focus on just simply playing as a group. And I think Overwatch has that same philosophy with just a little bit more skills and a little bit more action that allows it to change with each person playing. Every gameplay is always different. So I mean, I think Blizzard, to honestly say, they're not really that small. They're actually quite large. They actually had to cut down like employees before because they had Titan, the Unheard Project Titan was cut down, and they just simply had to move those numbers to different departments. I mean, they're actually pretty massive compared to other people. Like, was it when they first did Ultima? That's like a 33 MMO team, like way back in the 90s, and Blizzard.
They're nothing compared to like the top 25 Asian MMOs though.
Yeah. Yeah, which would be a cool topic to talk about. Like, Asian MMOs right now are doing really well. So, but Blizzard coming out, I mean, they have
the number of subscribers.
Is that for like WoW? They have more subscribers in the Asian.
No, like there's Asian MMOs that are 10 times the size of WoW.
Yeah, just really? last show we were talking about the fact that people in Japan don't play WoW, and I was just saying the same thing, that like the Asian market already has so many MMOs to play with.
I mean, I think Japanese they're like the origin of RPGs and RPs overall. It's pretty cool to see. But like Blizzard is still a giant company. It's gonna be great to see them to move forward and how they do it. I don't know about these security tests because it's kind of interesting how all their games are tied to the one client, and if that like the BNet itself is just they have one network for everything, and that goes down. It actually affects everyone's game. Like once BNet's down, you can't access any of your other games, which is kind of interesting to have. Yeah, I think it has this offline mode, which you actually download the games locally, where all of like Blizzard's actually are online based. Like I don't think a single one of them.
I was like, they're all online. Why would you play it offline? It's like, okay, thanks guys.
Well, even ones that are fairly single player oriented, you can't play Diablo 3 offline. You just can't.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
It pisses me off every time I'm on the plane.
Yeah, a lot of soldiers have problems with that too because they can't play when they're deployed.
Yeah, I don't get that personally. I also don't get why you can't level up in that game just as fast playing on your own instead of playing with other people. Because to me it seems so obvious. Sometimes I just want to get into the game and have my own time with my cup of joe. It's 8 a.m. in the morning before I get to work, and I can't do that because I'm supposed to be playing with other players.
Well, here's the thing. I think they're actually trying to fix a mistake that they made. I'm talking about World of Warcraft on this actually because I never played Diablo after Diablo 2, but for World of Warcraft, I feel the beginning of the end was the looking for group. Because, and the reason I say that was because when it first came out, massively convenient. I remember I was leveling up my druid in Lich King when that came out. And I remember I was like, yes, finally! I don't have to sit in town for like an hour waiting for this to happen. Waiting for someone to stick around and then get 5 people that'll actually stick around. But then I realized the game turned a lot more single player.
Yeah, but I think it's a lot of the times people are just happy to feel that there are other people around them, but don't truly want to engage.
I mean,
it's a lot like real life. It's a lot like real life.
Well, I mean, let me finish real fast. And because of that, I mean, what turned from a very, camaraderie-based game where, I mean, you got this rush when you were with your guild mates, and you took down this boss because pickup, groups for raids didn't work very well. You had to be in a guild. You had to understand your guild, Leveling took forever. It wasn't convenient at all. But by the end, you knew your character. I mean, looking for group was the beginning of the end because it made things too easy. It took away a lot of the social aspect of it, and it just made it too fast. I can't tell you how many times I run into a level 100 who doesn't know the first thing about their character. Whereas me, who's leveled up 1 through 90, going from vanilla all the way here, I understand my character pretty well. Granted, I need to catch up with all the new things that have happened to it, but I mean,
but it's not the same problem. I think these are two different issues. One of them is the changes that Blizzard made within a specific game, and the other is the dependency on playing online as a necessity just to even log on to the game. And I can kind of understand what the guy on Mumble was saying, is that you should always have the option to play solo, and even Blizzard did that with its latest expansion, because the garrison is an expression of that need for us to just go back into our own world and plant flowers.
That's what you want to do, Fred.
Like you. Fred is a natural Frenchman.
Close the show, Mikey Mike.
All right, sounds good. I wish we could actually cover over more topics here. But also just to shout out a few things that if you guys know about Awesome Games Done Quick 2015, it's going on this week. If you love speedrunning, that's where you want to watch it. It's on Twitch 24/7. And actually what's really cool and real short about is that there's actually a lot of PC games that's coming onto the speedrunning scene. And I wish we had more time to really talk about that, but that's just a short announcement for that. But honestly, I want to thank you all for coming out and tuning in with us. We're OP News. We're a community built by PC gamers, by your hands, for gamers. And also a big thank you to a few people speaking with us. Is Hilarion, Cage, Kraken, and those are the guys that were just kind of chatting along with us, bantering back and forth. But once again, I recommend you guys check out the site opnoobs.com. Follow us, hit us a like, a Twitter, I don't know, all the social medias. We love those. Everyone, that's the way it works. Otherwise,
all the members can stay on Mumble if they want. Move out of the channel, go into the lobby, and we're gonna play some games.
All right. So otherwise, I bid you guys thanks for watching in, and we'll see you guys next week now.
See you guys next week.
See ya.
Take it easy.